Welcome everyone. The topic for the day is environmental management and pollution control. We will speak about everything under pollutions and what impact does it have over the environment. So let us begin. Definitions is what we'll be covering around it. The types of pollutions we'll talk about it. We'll talk about air pollutions. We'll talk about water pollution, noises, land pollution, and most pertinent outcome of the 21st century is the radioactive pollution that we'll talk about it. I'll be showing certain pictures also about the pollution and the impact if it sensitizes you. Probably if we can correct our behaviors towards the environment and lead to a balance between the ecology. So let us begin with definitions. So what is the definition of pollution? Basically, it contaminates anything and everything which contaminates the environment is called pollution. So every harmful substance, believe me or not. So pollution refers to very bad condition of environment and it leads to poor living quality and human lives have been threatened. Forget human lives, it's the flora and fauna itself have been threatened. And believe me or not, there are many thousands, and I'm saying in thousands, many of the species have been extinguished from the face of the our planet because of this pollution. So pollution refers to very bad condition in the environment in terms of quality and quantity. We I have already said to you that we will be talking about these pollutions altogether, which is air, water, noise, land, and radioactive pollution. So basically, these five types, if we can control this five kind of pollution, everything done in there. Look at the pic. It is leading to the air quality pollution. See what is happening with the fumes that is coming around it. So these chemicals are getting mixed up with the atmosphere and changing the balance. These are the air that we breathe in. Forget us. It is the plants which they breathe in, the animals that they breathe in, and it is affecting each and every species which is existing on our planet. Talking about air pollution, so uh, absolutely everybody can understand that outside the space the world is very cold. Why? Because they don't have air is something which is absolutely essential for the sustenance of life. Atmosphere is the blanket that the earth wears around it, and believe me or not, within this blanket all species flourishes. It is therefore essential that we should know more about the atmosphere, the way in which it is being polluted. Air is considered often safe, but when it contains harmful dust and gases, it becomes threatening. So please understand, air definitely the mixture of the air that we have approximately 78% of nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen that we're talking about it with 78% of hydrogen and 21% of oxygen, and then thereby other gases that is coming around it. But what is happening with the mechanized production that comes around it? If you look into the pic again, it is being polluted with different kind of dust, different kind of gases, which is detrimental to the human. So, what are the causes? First and the foremost thing, the two pics that I've showed to you is of that of industry. Then the most relevant figure that comes in a modern life is of automobiles and domestic fuel. High proportion of undesirable gases like such as sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide has lead to a lot of death of recent times. Then we have the dust, which has been contributed by the cement industry, the foundry industry, the wind blowing dust, solid dust that comes around it. It can pollute your lungs altogether and make irreparable damages. Then we have the mist, we have the smoke, the carbon black, and the aerosols. The aerosols are coming, which is now being a suspended particles in the air that comes around it because of lot of so many gases, so many petroleum products that has been utilized. But here the quality of air has deteriorated very fast and very quickly over the last few decades. The effects, what does it have an effect onto the human health? First and probably the next would be the flora and the fauna. If we look into it that we are talking around it, it does, and believe me, it does impact all these three, and they impact not in positive fashion but always in negative fashion. The atmosphere as a whole, the temperature is rising. Believe me or not, the temperature is rising, the degree is rising in terms of celsius that we are talking around it. So yes, There's a depletion of ozones. Probably that will lead to a lot of CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, that will be coming around it. We are already experiencing black rain. Black rain is often known as acid rain, and which leads to a lot of respiratory disease, primarily one being asthma. That how to avoid air pollutions? Yes, we can avoid pollutions as follows. In terms of LPGs, like liquefied petroleum gases, we can utilize them for a mode of transportations. We can avoid bursting crackers to celebrate certain kind of festivities or any kind of celebration or victories that we are looking into it. Or even nowadays everybody burst crackers for celebrating their life events. One of them mainly being the marriages. Use less amount of fuels for vehicles, definitely yes, this is what. Please avoid vehicles if possible, or go to responsible sourcing of energies in terms of renewable energies. If we're looking into it, avoid use and using of electric stoves, which is done from the biogas, other effluent that comes around it. So these are the very basic thing how to avoid pollutions altogether. Let us move to the water pollution. Look at the pic, and this is hard fact reality that comes around it. Anything that we find unusable or unwanted, we throw it into the river bodies, which is not the right thing to do. Believe me or not, in the water there are approximately more than 50% of the species exist, and we are making their life dangerous. So any physical, temperature, oxygen, chemical or biological changes that the water that adversely affect to the use of the alive being. And look what we are having it. We are disposing everything. In fact, all industrial effluents have been disposed into the water body. So causes about 40% of the death worldwide is caused by water pollution. Yes, very true. Water pollution is caused by organic and inorganic industrial waste, effluent discharge into the rivers. Yes, absolutely. I have already spoken about it. It is the industrial waste that cause the uh, major pollution. The reason, the cause, the fact behind the river pollutions or any other water pollution. And please don't forget the rise, and should I say the use and abuse of plastics, as far as our daily consumption or daily habits are coming around it. So noise also anxiety, causes anxiety, stress, and fright. I have given you a peculiar photographs that comes from here. We have this thing. These are complete industrial bodies. Look at the color. It looks very, very detrimental as a green color that we're looking into it. Vis-a-vis the God made, or should the environmental green that we are out here. Both are chemical latents which have been disposed over to the water body. So effects on water bodies, what is it? Number one is cholera, malaria, typhoid, aquatic life get destroyed. Fish, see the dead fish floating on the river, absolutely not usable. Why? Because there's a lack of oxygen in the water. In most cases, why? Because of the chemical effluent that has been disposed, which has changed the composition of water bodies altogether. And as a result, all the masses and millions fishes have actually got extinguished. So how to avoid it? Let us understand how to avoid it. Number one, first and foremost thing, the river should not be utilized for washing clothes or bathing animals. One of the basic things, we are using soaps, and that is all of chemical that we are looking into it. So can we avoid it? The question is, then if we have to use water, why can't we harvest rainwater, the water that drops from the cloud, from up above us? Can we harvest them? Can we store them in a responsible fashion? We can create a lot of embankment, a lot of dams to store water, to store fresh water. The river must not never be contaminated, utilized for unethical means altogether. Probably fishing can be done, but responsibly, yes. In the river, the dead bodies, often it has been shown people have killed, there have been homicides, there have been rituals also where bodies have been actually been thrown onto the river bodies. And this uh, contaminates, this contaminates because of the desecration that the body eventually happens out there. And the water gets altogether. We're talking about the noise pollution. Next comes the noise pollution. We have done air pollution, water pollution. Let us come to the noise pollution. Most of us do not consider this a pollution, but believe me or not, once you go into a peaceful, serene place, we will understand the difference in the, environment that we all live in. So, noise can be simply defined as unwanted sound. The sound is pleasant, not depending upon the loudness, duration, rhythm, and the mood of the person. Please understand, this is what we are talking about, it continuous blaring of noises, in terms of rhythm, in terms of duration. It affects the cognitive ability. We are talking about the noise pollutions is a result of irritations altogether. Noise level decibels. Now what we are talking about decibels is these four factors that comes around it, in terms of intensity, in terms of frequency, in terms of period or duration of exposures, and the duration thereby. So this is what we are looking into it. If we get it, in fact, there are regulations by a number of governments which I can claim around it, that there's a limit into the decibels of the noises in the areas where hospitals are built in, or probably schools are built in. So this is a place where we look to limit the decibel things. So then comes the causes. Now, what is the first and major causes that happens in a urban setup is the traffic. Absolutely, traffic. Aircraft, the modus operandi of mass transportation from one country to another, in all probabilities, is the aircraft noises, and it makes a hell lot of a noise. Noise from construction, civil engineering work is also very true. Noise from the industry is also very true, definitely. And then there are noises from loudspeakers and other sources that we keep on blaring it out. So what we need to understand, the traffic noise, the aircraft noise, the noise from the constructions, industries, and the other sources. If we can limit the sources altogether, so what happens? This picture glorifies actually what I wanted to say. The planet, I strongly believe our planet is a living being. And because of the noise, the planet itself suffers in the longer things. You see the water flowing is a sign of life for me as a planet. You see the volcano is a sign of life for me as a planet. You see the moving glaciers, you see the mountains, you see the rift. We are absolutely believe I actually believe in that the planet is alive. So effect of noise pollution, which we are talking about, hearing losses. There is permanent, temporary, partial losses of hearing. Talking about high blood pressure, people get stressed out. There is insomnia among the people fall difficult to fall asleep, and people leads to color blindness. Nobody has akin to this thing, but I found out from my research that one of the major reasons for eyes malfunctioning is because of the ears problem. The ear being continuously bombarded with unwarranted noises that we coming out. So we have this, these are the effects, as in hearing losses, high blood pressure, stress, sleep disturbance, color blindness. How to avoid noise pollution? Now, this is where we need to understand the government should ensure new machines which are silent, which are noise proof, which works without impacting anybody, and it shows the caliber of the machine of the engineer if things have been fluently working, smoothly operating without any hindrances, nothing like it. So we should all look forward to a soundproof machines. Airport must be away from the residential area, definitely. Yes, we cannot, or we do not have the technology to limit the noise of the aircraft. So can we put it across in a different place altogether? The sound horn symbol in the school road is what we're looking into it. Did I say hospitals and schools should be in a noise less zone altogether? Control of the noise, what do we do about it? We need to understand how to control noises as on when on basis with the proper usage of equipment, design modification. So we need to talk about it, we need to look into it, we look to have to isolate those issues. Probably if it cannot be isolated, can we take our own protection in terms of ear protected devices that can be plugged in our ear? Let us come to the fourth pollution, which is the land. Approximately, remember, our planet is three-fourths of water and one-fourth of land. It is only at this one-fourth of land we all inhabited. So land is earth which occupies the people and the shelters, and look how we are abusing our resources that we have. We can classify the pollution in the following fashion. Let's say mining is one of the industry that is causing a lot of changes on our land demarcations. The household garbage, people are producing in tons of garbages on an annual basis, and I'm seeing only a handful of people. And believe me, now with the metropolitan cities across the globe that is coming around, the urban areas that are sprouting out, they are producing immense amount of garbages. Then we talk about the urbanization and the concentration of the population. Definitely, yes, the more the population and the exponential the effect of garbage that is around it. We talk about the municipal waste, solid waste, the industrial waste, the hazardous waste, uncontrolled land treatment. Probably we are rendering certain land um, uh, absolutely useless for the agricultures. We are burning open dumps, forest fire is one of the common features that is coming, figuring it out both in Australia, America, and even for that matter in Asia and Africa. Forest fire is becoming rampant. Why is this doing around it? Because of the less control on the proper usages of the land bodies altogether. The last but never the least one is the deforestation. Yes, the forest cover over our planet is depleting every year. This must be stopped. This must be arrested. The depletion must be arrested with immediate effect. We should encourage every one of us to plant a tree, absolutely, and take care of the tree so that the amount of green covers in our planet grows. Remember, planting a tree means replenishing, or should I say absorbing the noise and replenishing the oxygen in the atmosphere altogether. I will put forward to your photographs about the plastic wastages, the trash that comes around in the urban areas, the fertilizations effect, the chemical effect, and this is something which we cannot go about, we cannot avoid it. So remember, land, what does it happen with the land? Land cannot be used to build houses if it is rendered useless. Agriculture's become an obsolete thing altogether once it has been uh, abused altogether. It has, the composition of the soil has been changed, it gets affected, the groundwater gets affected, the death of animal that inhabits the land gets affected. Now this needs to be understood time and again altogether. We have to look into it because this is our planet. If we don't take it into the considerations, it is not the human beings that have been taken, we are talking about. We are also should be concerned about the flora and the fauna of the planet altogether. So how do you prevent it? There are three principles which I believe in: reduce, reuse, and recycle. If we can, we do it. If we can utilize less amount of everything in our life, less amount of transportation, less amount of energy, less amount of luxury, we can, if we can reduce it, if we can probably reuse the same product, if we can recycle them as on when on office. So more and more land should be brought under farming. I've been a staunch advocate of a lot of agricultural land. I have been speaking about deforestations of the planet. We have been talking about responsibly disposing of our waste that comes around it. Probably do not, if not required, do not explore for underground or exploit underground water. That is a reservoir that comes around it that replenishes the land and probably maintains the composition of the soil altogether. Avoid using more fertilizer, pesticide. Definitely, yes, people are now becoming a little bit conscious and opting for organic farming, integrated solid waste management, good agricultural practices, remediation of polluted soil, prevention of erosion and silting. Last but not the least is the containment of hazardous wastewater treatment using land treatment techniques. This is what we are looking at it. If we can follow these principles, if we can follow this dictums, I think it might take some time, it might take a few centuries, but eventually our planet will be much more habitable. As of now, we come to the last pollution that comes around it: advent of the modern day life. Despite the advantages of nuclear as a clean energy, the big concern is what is the form of radioactivity. What is the pollution that it might lead? Laser rays with the radioactive pollution, with the usage of mobile nowadays, absolutely with the usage of mobile, people are again talking about the same terms as far as the frequency is concerned. The mobile might be looking into a lot of radioactive pollution altogether. So causes, we have been speaking about it. We have a lot many nuclear power plant in terms of many missile, many places around it. We have the weapons that have come across, and right now there is always a threatening that goes around in the war between the Ukraine, or should I say NATO versus Russia. The theater is been played in Ukraine, and disposal of the nuclear waste and uranium mining. Uranium mining, both for the energy, we have now actually looking at to the lead also, because of the renewable energies, and probably we are speaking about battery productions and alternative energy sources. There is what lead mining is also around it. So effects are what? First and foremost thing is the ulcers, the swelling of bone joints that comes around it. We have to talk about these things very fast. I will not be talking much about it because this becomes a very depressing subject. Believe me or not, all form of cancers, be it skin, lungs, bone, and even pancreatic, everything is being done because of this radioactive pollution that comes around it. Our eyes get malfunctioning, start malfunctioning because of this radioactivity. So we need to be sensible about it. So how do we contribute, or how do we contribute to the protections of the radioactive pollution? This is what we need to go around it. First and foremost, the nuclear power plant, can we avoid it? In terms of clean energy, sourcing of clean energy, can, in the name of it, can we avoid constructing nuclear power plant? Avoiding use of nuclear weapon, this is what people might be boasting as if the capability is a nuclear nation. But can we avoid using nuclear weapon? Because it is not only against your enemy that you might be utilizing, it is to the humankind will be affected, and for generations to come. Have a proper treatment of nuclear waste that we're talking around it. Avoid mining of uranium to a minimal level. With this, I come to an end of this particular presentation. Thank you for watching this video.